Today we're doing a 15,000 kilometre review on my 2021 KTM 390 Adventure. I purchased it 2 years ago here in Tassie. It's just out of warranty now, so I'll run through what parts I've put on it, and then we'll talk about reliability, things that are good, things that aren't good. I'm not sponsored, so it's a true review. Yeah, let's get started. Okay, so we'll start off with what items or extras I have put on the bike, and these are fitting, and whether they're worth it. Where I remember the cost, I'll let you know. It'll be in Australian dollars because obviously I'm in Australia, in Tassie. But yeah, so let's get started. The first thing I put on was the good old stand foot, or stand extender, foot extender I suppose you'd call it, that stops it sinking into the mud and falling over. I think it cost me $15, might be AliExpress or something, but worth it, definitely worth it. 2 screws, minute and a half to put on, bit of Loctite. Make sure you put your Loctite on there, so I put Loctite on everything. Then after that, I believe I put on the crash bars. So I have the SRC crash bars that I ordered through the company here in Australia. The slider blocks I didn't, they're from AliExpress. They're $8 or something, but the crash bars are well and truly worth it. They run through the front past the radiator. They're nice and wide. You can actually put your feet on them when you're riding if you want to. Yeah, are they worth it? Yes, they are, as I found out 3/4 of an hour after I put them on, because I actually dropped it for the first time dodging a blue tongue lizard. But definitely, I've dropped this bike probably 5 times. I use it as what it's meant for, an adventure bike. I go up gravel dirt roads, find out where they go. Went up one in particular that I shouldn't have with Lockie, as you've seen him in previous episodes, and dropped it 4 times in that day. And other than a few tiny little scratches, I always drop it on the right side. I don't know why, but here we go. There's not a lot, if any, damage to anything major. A little bit of scratch on the muffler. Handlebar weight I put on, I'll go through that later in there. That's about it. Did crack a windscreen, but nothing to the motor, nothing to the tank. So definitely worth it. 3/4 an hour to put on. I think they were around the $425 mark. Definitely worth it. Definitely, if you're going off-road, if you're using it what it's for, and that's a bit of off-road as well, and you think you're going to drop it, put them on. Definitely put them on. The next thing I put on was a couple of little guards. Once again, I think they are off AliExpress. This one here goes on the rear brake fluid reservoir. That's normally just open. I didn't like that, but anyway, yeah, there's another guard there that's covers the rear brake piston. Same deal. That was probably $12. I think that was $15. I changed out the brake lever, don't know what you call it, end I guess, because when I did drop it I bent the old one. This one's good, spring loaded. Once again, AliExpress. Another cover was the coolant reservoir, this container. That was open. I didn't like that either. I didn't like the thought of a rock coming up and hitting it and putting a hole in it, but it's not that thick, but for $5-10 AliExpress, why wouldn't you? One of the other original things I did off a suggestion that I saw on YouTube was the chain guide, rear chain guide. That's a must off-road, because if you get a stick flick up, decent stick, it'll soon derail your chain. This stops it. So yeah, think that was, might be a little of a guess because it was a fair while ago, but that was sort of 35-40 bucks. That's an original KTM one I got off the dealer. Yeah, so one of the next things I did was bark busters. So these are the bark busters, good Aussie bark busters. I went with the orange to match the bike. I think all up you're looking at around 150 with the frame, and then the guards. There, you can buy them separate, $50 for a set. They're not too bad. I sprayed them black because they're usually just an aluminium silver. Didn't like that, didn't suit the bike, stood out a bit too much, so I sprayed mine a flat black. Really happy with it, really happy with it. And as you can see, this one's copped a bit of a battering from when I've dropped it. But yeah, and definitely original levers, so they're worth it, well and truly worth it. Gotta have them. The originals are a bit plastically, they split from what I've seen. Hasn't happened to me, but they do split. They don't have that aluminium backbone, they don't have that, yeah, to just protect the fingers and the levers. At the same time, I put on bar weights to help reduce vibration. They are bark busters bar weights or end weights. Yeah, they came in the black, but yes, so I think they're worth it. I don't know how much they were. They were a bit dear. I think they were like 60 bucks, which is probably a little bit dear, but got rid of the vibration and give it a little bit more protection. So yeah, that was okay. I did get a screen protector. You probably can't quite see it, but I've got a screen protector on here. There's a little bubble down there. Put that on it just in case. Don't know whether it's real useful because you're not going to get much debris come that way, but you never know. Got the GPS mount, which I'm not going to use because I have put a quad lock with a wireless charger on it. Vibration head, reducing head, which you have to have. You've got to have it, otherwise you ruin your phone. Just an aftermarket little job there. Little cigarette lighter adapter that turns everything to USB, so that gives me 3 different charging rates. Yeah, but the quad lock, love it, definitely worth it, definitely worth it. That's what I use for my nav. My phone goes on it easy, it's not an issue. As I said, the sliders, they're good. I've been through a few now because I have dropped them. They're definitely worth it. Yeah, the rear rack, that's a B&B off-road rear rack. That was around the 250 to 300 mark, I can't remember. It is really well done, it's really well made. These things are solid. Anything done by this mob, and like I said, I'm not sponsored, anything done by B&B is made properly. I use my motor dry tail bag on it, and that just clips on plenty of spots for attachments, plenty of it, you know. It's just good old Oki straps on, not a problem. Yeah, that thing is fantastic. Definitely worth it, definitely worth it. To fit 15 minutes, and that's if you're a bit slow like me. Yeah, the bash plate, B&B bash plate. Now B&B is Australian, they're made in Ballarat in Victoria, and this thing is amazing. It's made it like a tank. It's great, there's plenty of protection. I'll try and give you a look underneath. You can see where I've hit rocks. Yeah, this thing is great, and it's a must. The plastic ones are crap. I pulled the plastic one off after about 2 months and it was already broken and snapped, and yeah, not good. Another thing I did was get, I think AliExpress once again, is the radiator guard. The ones that were on them have a big gap in them, bigger than what I liked, so I wanted to go with something that adds a bit more protection. It has not affect in engine temperature, use your word, Simon, at all that I know of. That's a 10-minute job. The bash plate, removing the old one and putting the new one on is probably half an hour. But yeah, get your lock tied onto those nuts. I use the blue. The blue's good because you can get it undone again. And of course, we all know about the foot pegs. and I'm sure it doesn't bother everyone, but it definitely bothered me, forward angling foot pegs. They just drove me nuts. Couldn't stand them. Could not stand them. Took me a while, but I got on the forums, looked, spent a long time, a few months looking for what I wanted, but what I thought was cost effective. I didn't want pivot pegs, so I went with the nice CNCs. I went with the orange. They are flat. They are nice and flat. They do not angle forward. They are twice the size and probably a third longer that way. They're great. They're absolutely fantastic. I love them. Plenty of grip. I can stand up to put on. 5 minutes each one, if that. You're pulling a split pin out, putting a spring on, and you are putting it back on and putting the split pin in. Nice and easy. I think they were around 140 to 150 for the pair. Yeah, but not long to put them on. So having done that, I still felt like, and I'm not tall, I'm only 173 centimeters, you know, I'm not a tall person, but I still felt like I was too hunched over. So I wanted to bring the handlebars up more. Now if you go too far, you have to change the clutch cable. Didn't want to change the clutch cable, so I went with bar risers. Oh, there we go. There, the bar risers. They're only 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters. It's the max probably you can go, but it has made a huge difference. Huge difference actually. I've also whacked in under the seat Fuel X Lite. It's smoothed up the revs down low, and I found the stalling issue, which I think most of us have, is a lot less. But yeah, it's definitely smoothed it down low, which is great. So I didn't want to go the Pro, just the Fuel X Lite. That was probably a bit tricky. It was probably a bit over an hour to install. It is plug and play, but you've still got to run the wires from sort of up in here all the way back, and you got to make sure they're not going to pinch, rub, that sort of thing. So yeah, Fuel X Lite was the go. I've also got a GPS tracker in it. Did that in case it gets stolen, so which hasn't happened, which is great. But yeah, I've got that in. I'm not going to show you where that is. That's a 30-second install, because you've just got to put it somewhere, put batteries in it, pair it up to the fob. You have a fob. Yeah, worth it for peace of mind, I think. The windscreen. I didn't like the original. It was too low. Didn't give me enough protection, and even up on the highest setting. So I found this one. First one cost me $110. I think that was AliExpress as well. And then when I had that bad day where I dropped the bike a few times, I broke it. I snapped it up through there. That's going to happen. Broke a mirror too. Had to buy a mirror. But this is fantastic for the price. It doesn't rattle. It doesn't bang. I'm not going to be too upset if I break it, because the Puig ones are a lot dearer, and I don't necessarily like the shape of them, although they do go up higher and give you a little bit more protection. But this, as you can see, I haven't cleaned my bike since last time I rode it, the other day, up to my cousin's place. But yeah, well and truly worth it, the windscreen. So I've put plenty of stuff on it. I've put some rim stickers on there, bling, you know. The windscreen, half an hour to 40-minute install. It's not that long. It's really nice. Probably the only other thing that I can think of, I'm sure I'll think of something else I'll put on it after I've finished filming. It's just the good old cruise control wrist throttle thing. That was $10. That was a 2-second install. You just open her up and put her on. But yeah, great for when hands get tired. You can just sort of relax them out and keep the power on. So that's it. That's the 390. That's what I've put on it. Tyres. I have changed tyres. I've gone from the standard Continentals and gone to the Mitas EO7s. Not the Dakars, just the standard EO7s. And haven't they made a difference? They have been fantastic. Gravel, even a little bit of mud, clay. I've actually got grip now. The older ones, these ones, yeah, nah, they're okay on gravel. Mud and clay, you had no grip, none at all. But anyway, so that's it. That's the EO7s. Yeah, and the rim stickers, which I think look quite good. I'm surprised they've stayed on. Oh, and the other thing I have put on recently was the resonator delete. So the resonator sat in there, but this pipe here is the resonator delete. Now if you're going to do it, a couple of things to keep in mind. Makes the bike a little bit louder, which is probably a good thing because it's a pretty quiet bike, and you know, you probably want to be heard a little bit. Second thing is, it doesn't give you any extra power. If anything, and I haven't made up my mind, you might lose a tiny bit. Yeah, I haven't made up my mind. But the other thing to remember is, when you pull the resonator out, there are two gaskets. One in the big side, one in the little side here. You need them. You need them. Otherwise, this close one in particular, it will not clamp on properly. I ordered a new gasket because I wrecked them when I pulled them out. Couldn't save them. They were $16, you know, got them from an Australian supplier. Put it back in, did it up, and it's solid as a rock now. So yeah, definitely got to have the gasket. Would I do it again? No, I'd leave the resonator in. Resonator weighs 6 kilos, so I've probably gained myself 5 kilo, but it took a long time. It took a long time. I started at 10:30 in the morning, and I'm not sure I had it finished by 3:30. It took a long time. I wouldn't do it again. I think that this cost 50 or 55. Would I do it? No, I wouldn't bother. Some people say you need to take the heat from the resonator off the shocky. If you're moving, I don't think it makes a difference, but that's just my opinion, and I'm no mechanic. So yeah, I think that's it. That's all the changes I've done. Yeah, so I wouldn't do the resonator. I wouldn't. I've done it, so I might as well leave it like it. But yeah, that's it. We'll talk about the reliability. Okay, so as I said, I've done 15,000k, or close enough to. I'm 200k off. It goes in for a service soon to have the valve clearances checked, and I guess it's a major service as well. I like the bike. The bike's got enough power for me. I'm not a spring chicken. I didn't want a heavy one. I didn't want an 890. I definitely didn't want a 1290. Anything that big. I wanted something light. I wanted something nimble. The downfall of the 390, which is actually a 373cc, is your top end speed. So if you want to sit on 110 on the highway, you're revving out at 6 grand. It'll do it all day. I've done it. I spent, as you've probably seen in my other vlogs, I spent 6 days in Victoria in Australia doing the Great Ocean Road, the Grampians, up over Mount Hotham. I was on the highways, freeways a lot. It'll do it all day. As far as reliability goes, I've had no issues from the motor itself. A little bit of stalling earlier, which is quite a common thing with this bike, but the Fuel X Lite did fix that problem. Fuel X Lite too, by the way, is around a $350 cost. I didn't mention it before. They're not overly cheap. All the prices in this vlog are Australian. But it's got enough power to do what you want to do. It'll go anywhere most bikes will go. Not enduro bikes. It's not an enduro bike, it's an adventure bike, but it can definitely, especially with, you know, a decent bash plate and a few other items, the chain guide, you know, better pegs, it'll go where you want it to go. It's got me where I wanted to go, even further than what I expected to do at times. But yeah, downfalls. Let's talk about the factory chain. And I hated this. The factory chain, 3,000 kilometers, had to change it. It was stretched out. They are crap. They are crap. Like I said, I'm not sponsored, so the factory chains are crap. If you're going to get one, keep in mind you're going to have to change a chain pretty quick, and I think most people will agree. The battery didn't last me long. I doubt if I got maybe 6 months out of it, maybe a little longer, and it just died. It was buggered. Lucky I got a good mate of mine that helped me out, gave me a good price on the battery. Thanks, Jono. Yeah, so I had to replace that. I could have done it under warranty. I've got to travel hour and a half, a little bit longer, to my local dealer. I couldn't be bothered. I knew I'd get a good price, so that's what I did. The pegs, the original pegs are crap because they angle forward. We talked about it before. Not good, not comfortable. It's a great bike for shorter people. I'm definitely not tall. But yeah, these new pegs, worth it. But from the moment these things came out, which I believe the first model, I don't know if it was 2019 or 2020, people have complained about them. And they did nothing about it. I don't know about the 24s, whether they've changed them. I don't think they have. But yeah, you've got to listen to people, KTM, because we don't want slanted forward pegs, which I believe may come directly off the 390 Jerk, which is a road bike. Other than that, I've got no major issues. I didn't like the mirrors at first. When I first saw it, I thought, oh god, they're ugly mirrors. Actually, to be honest with you, now I do like them. They're fine. Yeah, the front windscreen, as I mentioned, wasn't a fan. It's adjustable up. I put it up. It still didn't give me enough buffering. Now the wind sort of hits me just on the top of my helmet, so that aftermarket one is good. Suspension on this bike, absolutely fantastic. Adjustable, as you all know. If you don't, and you're going to get one, so there and there. Rebound compression is adjustable. Fantastic. For the price you pay, this thing has amazing brakes and amazing suspension. Rear brakes aren't the best, but I think they're sort of designed like that. But the front brakes, it'll stop you, not a problem. Not a problem. Exhaust is very quiet. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, reliability wise, more than happy with the bike. Changed the battery, fuel X light, changed that chain, which I wasn't impressed with. Yeah, but other than that, fantastic suspension, front and rear. Brakes, front brakes are fantastic. Back brakes are pretty good. Pretty happy with them. Fuel range is great. Truly, you'll get around the 380 mark. Mine says 440 at times, but unless you're putting along at 80, you're not going to get that, I don't think. Throttle response is pretty good. Overtaken, he's still well and truly capable of that. Drop it back to fifth hitter and away you go. You'll get round a car doing 110 on a private track, of course, if you need to. One of the issues I do have with it is the fuel filler. Has a little bar across it. I'll open it up and show you. That can make the fuel spew out. Not a big fan of it. Angle it forward, it's not a problem. You can't see it because I don't think you can see it. No, you can't. Because oh, there you go. If I shake it, you'll see it. But anyway, don't really want to get petrol on the lens. Yeah, not a huge fan of that, but that's not a major issue. It's just a matter of getting that nozzle on the right angle. So I think that's about it for me. So would I buy another one? Yes, I would. What would I do different? Wouldn't do the resonator delete. Would make sure the dealer replaced the chain and the battery. That's about it, I think. And I am considering putting the high fender on. It's got the low fender. Been thinking about that. Definitely would replace the windscreen again. Definitely would put bark busters on it. Definitely put the super thick 5mm bash plate, would put the crash bars on, put the chain guide on, put the rear rack on. So yeah, more than happy with it. If you're going to get one, if you said to me you're going to get one, I'd say you spend the extra, get the one with the spoked wheels, not the alloy rims. They're stronger, they can be fixed if you dent them. And I believe, I might be wrong, I'm sure someone will let me know if I am, but I believe the spoke rims may take tubeless, or are capable of taking tubeless tubed tyres. Sorry, tube tyres. But yeah, overall pretty happy with the package. Haven't had any major issues in the 15,000k other than the battery and the chain, and yeah, the occasional stall which sort of has almost gone away with the Fuel X Lite. But anyway, one thing I did forget that I put on it are the bobbins. So there's one of these on each side, and they are fantastic for the paddock stand, and that's great for working on the bike. Just flip that under, pull it back, up she comes. Definitely get it. The paddock stand cost me about 80 bucks. I think the bobbins were 15, and you can get them on AliExpress. I got them from a local bike shop because I wanted to make sure I had one that was tough enough and strong enough. But yeah, that's the KTM 390 15,000k review. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost a thing. Subscribing to YouTube doesn't cost you, the subscriber, a thing. So jump on, subscribe. If you want to know where I got something from that I haven't mentioned, and I didn't mention it in this vlog, just put it in the comments and I'll reply and let you know. But thank you very much. See you later.